On the outside, I was enjoying the life I was building, but from a state perspective, I was doing it from a level of pride. How's the business going? And how's life? Like, fuck it, mate, we're on a rocket, we're crushing everything, couldn't be better. But actually, internally, that wasn't the case. It was a lie. I was doing it all from a place of like ego, because that was a prison I was stuck in. That was the program I was running, that you'll be rejected, you'll be rejected, you'll be rejected. And ultimately, because that is the program, we do fucking stupid things. Success for me is to be rejected. Everything is patterns, and your own life is just made up of thousands of patterns. For me, I have a process called most people aren't aware how to get someone to do better in life. 3 times a day, bring awareness to you, bring awareness to you, bring awareness to you. Shit, man, that's a fucking good point.
All right, guys. So today I'm joined by Pete Taylor. Pete runs Heroic Man, and he works with founders, operators who look successful on paper, but internally feel stretched thin, reactive, and under constant pressure. And he has developed a system which kind of embodies like your emotional body, operations, and all the different aspects of like manhood as such, but has developed it into a way that's very logical and understanding for men to understand. And this helps founders then regain control of their time, their teams, their relationships, so they can scale without chaos and actually enjoy the life they're building. And that is a big point here. Enjoy the life they're building. And I want to actually touch on that and then start off here, Pete, with like you built a business, a brick and mortar business. It was very successful in London. Were you enjoying the life that you were building?
Thank you, man. I appreciate the intro. On the outside, I was enjoying the life I was building, and actually, internally, I was telling myself I was enjoying the life I was building. But from a state perspective, I was doing it from a level of pride.
Right.
And when you're doing things from a level of pride, you're actually doing things from a level of selfishness. And when you do things from a level of selfishness over and over and over and over and over and over, you stop doing it. You don't get to a level of doing it for love and doing it for joy and doing it for happiness. You're doing it to fulfill your own internal prophecy of this must be the thing that's going to make me happy, and it doesn't. It's like I'll give you a great example. When I had my first business, which was an architecture firm, bricks and mortar, we built that from living room up to we owned a 3-story building in Ascot High Street. Had a team of 20 people. We used to win loads of awards. It was a great business, and I generally loved running the business. However, it would be like we go out for dinner in an evening with a client or potential client, like a big developer, and they go, how's the business going? And I'll be like, and how's life? I'm like, fuck it, mate, we're on a rocket. It's going amazing. We're crushing everything. We're taking over the county. The missus is great. The family is great. Everything couldn't be better. And then I get in the car and I drive home and be like, fucking hell, I'm so stressed. Like, is this really what this is all cracking out to be? And then I get home, the little social media posts would go out, fucking phenomenal day. But actually internally, that wasn't the case. It was a lie. I was doing it all from a place of like ego.
Yeah, right. You touched on selfishness there, because this could be a hard pill to swallow here for a lot of listeners, operators or business owners or CEOs who listen to this. Explain a bit about this, like selfishness. Why? How are we being selfish? Why are we doing it? Have you noticed this in your clients and yourself, or what? What do you mean by selfish?
I'll tell you, I'll just give you an example that I had to go through this transition myself. And I went through this transition in this business now, like building Heroic Man, is that when I had the architecture firm, my morals were absolutely in the right place. Like I really, really cared about people. And it's part of the reason I actually came away from that business in the end, because some of the people I was surrounded with weren't aligned with that. However, I was massively doing it for the money. I'm like, I want to earn. And it worked to an extent, but there was a real side of, it was just about me.
Okay.
Deep down, it was really just about me. And then I came into building Heroic Man over the last 4 years, and at the start, massively, it was just like, how can I benefit from this?
Mm.
Not like how can I get transformation for my clients? Like how can I benefit? I loved getting the transformation for the clients, but it was still like, how can I get more money and how can I go and buy some more things ultimately?
Yeah,
And
right. Okay.
but a couple of years into building Heroic, I actually had to go through and really like face that in the mirror that isn't, if I keep that mentality and I keep that attitude, then I think like at a conscious level, like people can feel that. People can feel that energy. That it's a take energy rather than a give energy. What can I take from this relationship? What can I take from this? It becomes transactional rather than like transformational. And there was a point a couple of years ago, and when I began to transition into, actually, why don't I just focus on giving loads of value and focus on actual transformation and focus on actually helping people from a place of, I fucking just want to help them, and whatever comes to me, but I'm just going to help them. And when I that mindset switch, not only did I actually began to do better financially, but I actually felt better. I felt loads better about the work I was doing with people. Like absolutely, like still times of fucking stress, loads of times of stress, loads of times of pressure. But I felt really, really great about the work that I was doing with people, and so it changed my perspective on the way that I approached work. And so I stopped coming from it from a place of being pure selfishness. It wasn't just about me. It was like, actually, how can I actually give value to the world and actually help people without doing it from a point of, what am I going to get from this?
Mm. And that's one of the things, like in service to others, really, isn't it? For about being a man in general, it's like who you in service to, like being in service to others. And the when you were talking about the selfishness, okay, and this mindset shift, okay, for you're talking to a CEO or an operator who probably has that that mindset of like, I'm making money, I'm making more of it. How does that land for somebody like that when you're like, have you tried working with clients on this level, or is this something you've like reframed it? What is the impact you're making rather than say the money you're making? And not to say like money is not important, because obviously it is to live in this world, but are these some of the things you'd be bringing up with clients and you can see in your own clients, or
Yeah. Some of my clients, some of them doing 15, 20 million a year.
mm,
Some doing more than that, actually. One of the guys doing 30 million. So they earn a lot. These guys earn mad money. It's crazy, crazy money.
mm,
Some of their like personal take homes and what they're building, it's, it's big things, and yet they're still in a place of not being fulfilled. And so
right,
it's always a conversation. Like a lot of the work that I do is I do work, I call it mind prisons. It's the
yeah,
prisons of your mind. It's the prisons that we get trapped in. And then once we're trapped in that prison, it becomes essentially our program. And then we project that program onto the world, and it becomes your life, and it becomes your story, and becomes your pattern. And all of those programs are built around the ego. And so a lot of the work that I'll do with guys that are building businesses is we'll dismantle the ego bit by bit and figure out what prison they're stuck in. And more often than not, they just become better humans,
mm,
because we used to talk about taking off the masks, and you begin to take off the mask that you're wearing. And when you begin to dismantle parts of the ego that just don't serve you anymore because they're immature, like selfishness is immature.
yeah.
It's immature masculine. To serve is very mature masculine, and it's maturation. It's moving into being a complete masculine. And to do that, when we take part each prison, you just inevitably you become a better man. It's like it's automatic. You start becoming a better human.
Better human, better man. Okay. from removing these prisons. What does that look like? Is that talk to me about a bit about that? Like, talk to me and the listeners a bit about like a better man. Okay, we start to remove these masks or these prisons of the mind. You have particular, obviously, when you're working with clients, you have it down to a situation where okay, I can see what prison you're kind of locked in on here. How? What's the byproduct of that?
The byproduct is, well, I say, let's for example, okay, I'll give you an example of the prison of control, and this is essentially where a man wants to control as much as he can in his life. I went through that, still go through that, and massive elements of that. And I think most men have an element of, I want to control what's going on in my business or my life, my relationship, my health, my so on. But but when you're so transfixed on controlling everything, and inevitably it doesn't go your way, then you react, and it's the internal chaos, and it's like, fucking hell, well, I was going to go on a run this morning, and the weather's fucking shit. I couldn't control the weather, and now I'm pissed off. I can't go on a run.
Mm.
Or I was expecting that 500 grand deal to come in, and now the client's fucked off, and they've done something else, and now then that deal's not coming in. I couldn't control that. Or you get home and um, I don't know, fucking kids' clothes are all over the place. There's the kitchen's a complete mess, and you're like, oh well, I was expecting everything to be clean and tidy when I got home, and I'm not in control of that. So the man reacts and loses his shit.
Mm.
But when you begin to dismantle that control mechanism and move into more of a place of surrender and letting go, um, those things don't influence him in a place where he reacts in a negative way. And this isn't to say that um, you can't influence life, because absolutely, like, we can influence life. Like, we can put things in place that the client would have signed the 500,000 deal, or we can add our influence. But the important thing is, if it doesn't go our way, and most things don't, that the man doesn't completely lose his shit. So when you begin to dissolve that, he just becomes more calm. He becomes less reactive. He becomes more grounded. So inevitably, when life doesn't go his way, he doesn't lose his shit. He doesn't
Mm.
crumble. He doesn't walk in the house, and the house is a shithole, and he fucking anger comes and reaction comes, or whatever, or the other, he just goes completely quiet and goes, oh, fucking hell again, sits on the sofa, gets on the phone, numbs out. That is a reaction. Whereas the other is, you're grounded and you're calm and you're peaceful. It's like you're unshakable. The way that I really like Marcus Aurelius. I cannot remember his exact quote, but he talked about being a man, and like the man is essentially, he is unshakable in the chaos. So imagine that he's a rock in the ocean. I like to talk about the lighthouse in the ocean. He's a rock in the ocean, and around him there's storms, and there's winds, and all the waves are crashing up against the rock. Yet he remains grounded, and he
Mm.
doesn't move. And then ultimately, all the storms calm, and all the water calms around him, the rock. And I love that. Like, I've butchered what he said, but that's kind of his analogy. Is you're the rock, you're the lighthouse in the water amongst the storms, and you stay standing.
The prison of control for yourself. Uh, you touched off. You've had to develop it yourself, or you've had moments where you've seen it yourself. When is it at its highest? Have you seen it in yourself and then in your clients? Is there like they hit pressure peak, or is there something that like really goes it there for them, or that drives it, or quote unquote triggers it, whatever it is? But when was it that you started to see this prison for yourself, and that is now you can see it in others quite quickly?
In language, I
Language.
can see it in others in their language. and literally normally the word control does come out like, oh, I can't control something. Like,
Mm,
normally when I'm talking to someone, it's everything is in your language. The story that you tell is essentially the prison and the program that you're running.
mm,
So everything is language. So when you can hear someone talking, you can and the actual the art of listening is a very powerful skill to learn for a man to learn like the art of listening, particularly in your relationship, like to be able to sit and listen and shut the fuck up, is a master skill. But not only to listen to really feel the words and understand words, and you can see and feel and hear exactly what's going on in someone's life. So back to your question, to answer your question, like where did I see the prison of control coming up in my, like I had to go through it, and then when I began doing this work that I do now, I was then able to look back and go, I can see there in that relationship where she wanted to. I remember there was a relationship, um, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and she left me. I was heartbroken. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe 9, 10 years ago. I was absolutely heartbroken. I was devastated. And I remember being in my car, and I had a bit of an anxiety attack.
oh,
Uh, and it was the first time I'd ever experienced anything like it. I mean, I had this BMW red Z4. I thought I was the boy, and I had an anxiety attack because I couldn't control it. She left. She was leaving. There was no going back. It was a complete no. This is over. It's done. And for me, it came so far out of the blue, and I remember having anxiety because I was just like trying to control a situation. I couldn't control it, and my reaction was anxiety, have a full-on attack in the car. That and so when I started doing this work, I was able to look back and go, I really was trying to control her in that relationship, and then I could see, fucking hell, tendencies of that still coming up in my current relationship, where there's things I don't necessarily like, or if I think that she might leave, and then I'm going to do something to manipulate that situation to essentially control it so she doesn't leave.
wow.
Right. And then when you can, because manipulation is not a good place to be. And when you can see that, okay,
Yeah.
now how can I change? Like that's not a good trait to carry. Where else am I doing that? And now let's stop doing it.
You reckon that was maladaptive? Like, was that a protection mechanism from? Was that an adaptation from childhood that you?
Oh God, yeah, I know where that's come from.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's multiple. For me, there's 6 core prisons. There's lots and lots of prisons. There's lots of programs that people get stuck in, but there's 6 core prison of control we just talked about. But the biggest one in guys, and I was fucking sat straight in this, is the prison of rejection,
Okay. Well, yeah.
right? So I like ultimately come from my fear of rejection. So I had a huge fear of being abandoned, left, rejected, right? Huge fear of that. And I can track back and I can see elements of my life and go, okay, yeah, I lost my best mate in my 20s. I can see that my parents. I can see where I may have built that program, which is it's useful. That's useful to understand where the program might have been built. It's not always the answers to get rid of it. You fucking people
Mm,
do therapy for 10 years, figure all they do is talk about their past and nothing changes.
mm,
It's useful to bring awareness to that. But it's not always the answer to dissolve it and to get rid of that. Um, so I could see where that was built, and because I sat in that prison of rejection, which is a program of people will leave me, like I will be left. The the fuck up with when you're sat in prisons, when you're sat in a fear, is that because that is in your subconscious and it's your fear, and you think about it, you actually manifest that.
wow.
So like it's success. for me, which is fucked up. So success for me is to be rejected, or was anyway. Success was to be rejected because that was a prison I was stuck in. That was the program I was running, that you'll be rejected, you'll be rejected, you'll be rejected, you'll be rejected, you'll be left, you'll be left, you'll be left. A lot of it is so subconscious and so subtle in the mind. And ultimately, because that is the program and we want the program to be successful in our lives, we do fucking stupid things like try to control people, and then they leave us. So we actually manifest the fear.
So you create the situation to affirm the program of the mind.
Correct.
And that's what, I mean, if you're listening to this, it could be a good question to ask yourself right now. It's like, what situation are you creating in your life that is repetitive or on repeat? Because I'm presuming that's a good starting point for business owners and operators. It's like, how the fuck is this happening to me again? You know?
It's yeah, you just got everything's patterns.
Yeah.
Everything in life is a pattern. But like, and your own life is just made up of thousands of patterns, right?
Mm,
Like I took, for me, I have a process called the 5 Ps, right? So P number one is your past. In your past, shit comes up, things happen, it fucks you up a little bit. Sometimes you don't know it's fucking you up. Sometimes you do. People call it trauma, right, or whatever. Past. The past puts you in a prison. For example, here, like I lost my best mate in my 20s. I sat in. It gave me it put me in a prison of rejection. The prison of rejection is people I love leave me. This is the 3rd P is the program. People leave me.
mm.
Prison of rejection. The program that I begin to run in my mind. People leave me. People that I love leave me. The 4th P is the problem, which is your behavior. It's your self-sabotage behavior. And what I would do is I would commit self-sabotaging behaviors into the world, right? I could try to control things. I could try to manipulate things to ensure people don't leave me. The more that you do those self-sabotaging behaviors, the problem, it becomes a pattern. The 5th P is the pattern, right? And the more that you do it over and over and over, you reinforce the program. So the pattern reinforces the program and the prison. And it's just this perpetual loop.
And it's interesting because until you're working with somebody, and look, I have a direct reflection of working with you in the early days and being in the group and working with Yassine. Like, I didn't realize. I actually, man, when I wrote, for context here, guys, I wrote emails for Pete when he was building this brand as a copywriter. And as I was writing these emails, I was like, holy fuck, I need to look at my own life here. And thus began my journey into men's work and that world. But you don't like, the point is that the patterns, it's very easy not to see them when you're in them yourself. And that is when, like, coaching, obviously, and we're going to get into men's work here in a couple of minutes, really comes into play. But I'm going to read out a passage. It's from a guy called Robert A. Johnson. He's a Jungian analyst. He works specifically with men. And I'm just going to read it out to you here, Peter, and then ask you a question at the end of it. A man may build a powerful outer life, career, reputation, authority. He becomes competent, respected, needed. But if that outer strength is not matched by inner development, the life begins to tilt. At first, the balance is subtle. Rest becomes difficult, presence thin. Relationships carry a quiet tension. Eventually, the imbalance demands payment, not as punishment, but as consequence. It often arises through exhaustion, through conflict, through the quiet loss of meaning in life that still looks successful from the outside. What once felt like purpose becomes pressure. What once felt like leadership becomes weight. And the man is left with a choice: continue reinforcing the outer world, or finally turn inward and develop the inner authority to capable of holding it. Now, you talk about an illogical life. and creating an illogical life. How much of making that illogical decision to turn inward and develop your own inner authority is important to creating an illogical life for a man?
Um, oh, you, you can't not.
Mm,
You have to. Otherwise, you'll always be unhappy. You'll always be unfulfilled. There'll always be that internal like murmur, that internal tick that's like, is this it? Is this everything that it's supposed to be? Or why don't I feel like I'm where I should be? It'll always be there until you look in the mirror.
mm,
And it's fucking hard. It's like to go internally because you've got to face you have to essentially face your own identity that you have built over however many years, 30, 40 years, maybe more in 50 years. One of my guys, he's turning 60 next week. And it's like you have to fucking face it because if you
mm.
don't, you live a very surface level life.
And purpose, like having a sense of purpose, meaning the guys you've seen operating at that level, even from yourself operating at the level you're operating and even where you're at right now, feeling alive with life, like is there like what are the things you can see in your transformation? Like I was on a call or I did a podcast with Giles Denning, who is also a client of Pete's, and man, that fella is alive with life. And I look myself, even I've had so many people say to me, just from doing this work, and the idea is that how does this start to draw that out in you? Like being around other guys, from what you're seeing inside your community and everything, like what starts to happen to a man when he starts to realize that he has these containers for himself when he's living life?
Yeah, I mean the words authenticity, and it's thrown around a lot, but it's so powerful because when you begin to dismantle the parts of your ego that don't serve you, you begin to take off some of the masks that you've put on to please the world. You mature into like I said earlier, a complete masculine. Is you become authentic.
Mm,
You don't give as much of a fuck about what the world might think of you, and so it's I actually I did a talk on stage not so long ago, and um, it was like part of the keys to life, and it's we will want freedom. Everyone wants freedom, and that's what we're gunning for freedom. So many when I talk to guys about their core values, it's always freedom, right? But what is freedom? And there's time freedom, and there's financial freedom, and there's relationship freedom. Relationship freedom being that like you can be in a relationship and you can be completely yourself.
mm.
And there's no like posturing or anything like that. You're completely yourself. But then the fourth freedom is freedom of self. It's being completely free within yourself. And if you tick the others but you can't tick the last, it's the itch will still be there. Why do I not feel fulfilled? What's going on? And so, and I think like my experience of this, and it's a consistent journey. Like there's so many levels to this. Is my experience of the latter, the internal freedom and becoming more authentic, is that you actually have an acceptance of there's always going to be shit going on. There's always going to be stress. There's always going to be forms of pressure. There's always going to be chaos. And you begin to accept that rather than fight it.
There's all yeah. It's an interesting because what that just reflected there to me was one of the things that it was one of the first things I heard inside an heroic man, and I was like, "There is no fucking nirvana, Paul." That and you know, so I have this plaque that is like principles. It's by living by principles and value based. Basically, how I want to act moment to moment to moment to moment. Um, and it's a really good it's a really good distinction that you've said, because at the end of the day, no matter what's going on around you, you know yourself to the point that this is who you are and you can handle it in that situation. And this isn't like from a performance point of view. It's just that you've done the work on yourself, and you know where you might spiral for you to go off in it, or where you might spiral to be able to take back control on that, which is like just a powerful, powerful ability in the first place. Let's get into a logical life, Rupee, because this is something you talk about: cheat codes, brotherhood, men's work, having men around you. I know you recently done a podcast around why you need a men's group. Married men, listen to this, and I want to bring, even not even from a relationship point of view, we can bring that into, but men's work, inner work, and life in general. Having a group of men around you, not like surface level where it's just to the pub for a few drinks and I'm watching the footy or whatever. Like actual genuine men around you. Like when you first experienced that from your point of view, what was that like for you? And then how are you seeing that in your clients and the men? Like why does that develop us so much?
It's there are so many facets to this, but I'd tell you one for like you talked about Giles, and there's a number of other guys that have just come to my mind, and we all got on a call last week. So we do a call weekly. We all got on a call last week, and it's a place where a lot of these guys are really winning in life, but they can come to that place and we can talk about the shit and the challenges that because everyone's still going through them. Like Giles is fucking absolutely winning in life. It still has challenges, but you can come to me, come to the guys, we can talk about it. We can give different perspectives and challenges, reframes. His state will change because of that, and then he goes back into life and can continue winning and continue being in this high state and high energy without like I know this, without that brotherhood, without that outlet to go right, I'm going to talk about what's going on and I'm going to get challenged on what's going on and get coached around what's going on. It stays in the mind. It's not released. For most guys, that will sit in your own mind, and when it sits in your own mind, it becomes that negative loop, and you cannot process it in your own mind.
Yeah.
It's impossible to process your own problems in your own mind. And I'll tell you for why. I will just give you an example. Well, as you know, humans have 90 odd thousand. I think there's studies that say 90,000. There's other studies that say 150,000 thoughts in a day. So if you have a challenge or you have a problem going on, and at any one time we've got fucking loads of them going on, and you're trying to solve it in your own mind within 10 seconds. So let's just say you've got a challenge to do with your career. You're going to make a career jump. Maybe you're going to become an entrepreneur. It's like, okay, well, look, I want to make the career jump. I want to become an entrepreneur. But what if I make that jump though? What if I don't make money in the first few months, and then fucking hell, if I don't make the money in the first few months, then actually I could lose the house, I could be on the streets, Mrs. might fucking leave me. Fuck, what about the kids? In 10 seconds, there's so many thoughts have gone through your mind in 10 seconds. And that's consistent. That's all day. Whereas same challenge, you bring that to me and the guys. Pete, I'm thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. I'm going to leave my corporate career and build a business. Okay, great. Right, let's get into it. His mind's completely slowed down. Yeah. And now he can have a conversation around it. It's completely slow. And now from the end of the conversation, it's like, okay, you know what you're going to do? Here's your accountability. Let's get it done. You've got one thing to do. And the frequency of having something like that sees a man consistently move forward in momentum, moving forward. Challenge, move through. Without that, in my experience, what I've observed over the last 4 years, coached well over 1,000 men, done loads and loads of like men's containers. Without that, fucking you don't move anywhere near as fast. You move you'll grow. Inevitably you'll grow. You might grow 10% in a year, 20% in a year. Great. I'm not interested in that though. I'm interested in 10x growth in a year. We want 1,000%, and you get that by getting a strong fucking container of guys that are going to push you and challenge you.
And just on that, push and challenge, right? From a point of view of like what that looks like. That is like guys calling each other up, holding each other to the standard. And I suppose living by that standard within that code, is that a natural thing you would see in the community? It's just that once you're in that, because that's the standard being held, then the other guys will fall into that flow as well.
Yeah, it's based on the leadership. It's based on the leader of the community.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
If it's not being led in that way, then that is not the type of community it's going to be. I've seen plenty of men's circles that don't hold that standard, that don't hold that accountability, that don't hold that, and it's down to the leadership.
And come here and tell me, what's the difference then here between validating the experience and challenging somebody to step up?
Yeah, look, validation is important, but it's step one.
Yeah, right.
If you come to me and say, Pete, I've got a problem going on, mate, and I fucking feel shit about it, I'm not going to say to you, stop being a fucking little fanny. Yeah, and man the fuck up. Because that might work for 10% of guys, but for many that go around and go, fucking hell, I actually feel worse.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, dude, all right, mate, tell me about it. Let's see what's going on. And then like the validation part is important. Okay, do you know what, Paul? If I was in that situation, I'd probably feel the same. I could see why you feel that way. But now let's actually move into some growth here. Are you ready for that? Yeah, do you know what I am? I'm ready for it. Okay, let's coach around it. And then you go into maybe it is I'm going to challenge your perspective here, or I'm going to reframe your thinking here, or we're going to move into some form of action and growth here. Whereas the other way, if it's a circle of guys just all validating feelings, I just don't fucking like it. I just don't. I just think it's soft, and the guys do not grow from that. It actually becomes a pity party, and it's every week we're going to share our feelings in a circle, and there's really no growth. And you know that if you go back to if you look at that circle and go, fucking hell, I've been in this for 6 months and I've not really grown. We just come here every week and bitch, whine and moan. And I can see with the other guys, none of them are really 10x in their life. Wrong place to be.
That is, like when we talk about this 10x in your life and moving forward and growing, at the end of the day, like growth is ultimately for men. And I would say intentional psychological growth. It's one thing, like I'll even touch back on my experience with you, was the inner development of stepping from, say, quote unquote boy to man, on an internal level. And like fuck, I'm way off the mark here. So when it comes to those groups and challenging, and you're facing like, say, internal dialogue, which is more from like a child state and stuff like that, is there like methods or is there ways that you're working that you see with clients where they can kind of drop into that and you're like, mate, can you observe what you're looking at here? And how important is it for guys to have an understanding of that sometimes they may drop into, like, say, boyish behaviors, and to have other men around them to carry them back up?
Yeah. The process around it. So let's talk about process. Stage one is purely awareness.
Yeah.
Most people aren't aware. It's like, okay, well, how to get someone to do better in life? Okay, 3 times a day, bring awareness to your health, bring awareness to your relationship, bring awareness to your wealth. Bring awareness to it. Okay, what I'm going to do today for my health, what I'm going to do today for my relationship. Just bring awareness to it. The majority are very unconscious to all those elements, and will walk around unconsciously like a zombie. So stage one is awareness, and there's something, a lot of the work that we will do is that we'll bring awareness to nice guy tendencies,
Yeah, right. Okay.
We'll bring awareness to like immature masculine. We'll bring awareness to how you're acting in your ego. And when you look at that and go, fucking hell, I actually do that day to day. And for me, like all the time, like one of the guys last week brought something up to do with a relationship, and I'm like, shit, man, that's a fucking good point. I didn't see that in my own relationship, and that's the power, man. It's that
Yeah.
I grow so much from my own groups because I get to listen to everyone else, and I'm like, do you know what? There's an area that and I think the way that I position this is I'm shoulder to shoulder with everyone. I'm not on a high horse, and we're in a fucking circle with each other. We're shoulder to shoulder. We're all doing the work. Some are further ahead than others, and that's the beauty of it. Stage one is awareness of what is the behavior. So behavior, stage one. Stage two is awareness of the awareness. So I'm aware now that I have no boundaries, for example, and I'm consistently just people pleasing my missus. Okay, well, let's bring awareness to that awareness. Why does that exist? Fucking hell, actually, in my missus, I see my own mother, and
Oh,
I'm letting my missus treat me like my mother treated me, like a little boy. Ah, okay. Okay, so now we have awareness of the awareness. Okay, and then we just go, we just go deeper with it, and it's because once you can really see it, like fucking hell, I don't want my missus to treat me like my mum. Why is that there? And then we can go. Okay, well, is there a massive attachment to your mother?
yeah,
Is
right.
that still there? Do you still do your washing? Yeah, what like is that still there? And then let's work on the detachment of that.
So there is a lack of consciousness because I actually get stuff sent by women. I don't know if you have stuff sent by you by women, but I've had some stuff sent to me by women, and some of the stuff is like the expectation to do the household stuff when they we won't get into like the payments or the income level of the house. But what I'm hearing here is that like a lot of the times guys are just unconscious of this um, from you, and they're actually unaware of it until it's shown or reflected back to them. Um, and generally, by the sounds of things, it's in the groups where they're having it reflected back by say the likes of yourself or even somebody's reflecting something back to you or whatever in that moment. So you just touched on something I found very interesting that caught my attention was immature masculine. Explain a bit about that. What does that look like in terms of relationship, in terms of management of team, in terms of in the core areas that you work on with guys?
Yeah. Okay. Well, immature masculine in a intimate relationship. What that would look like in practice is that he is overly reliant on her looking after him and it like and mothering him.
Hmm.
And that's like, your missus doing, washing your clothes and cooking you nice meals. That's not like her mothering you. If it's done from a place that she's doing it purely from, I want to look after my man, and he's receiving that
Yeah.
purely from, she's caring for me, and I fucking love that. That's my woman. That's my queen, and that like it's because it's the dynamic of how it's received and how it's given.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Whereas if it's received from, oh, I need her to do my washing. I need her to cook for me because I can't do it myself. I'm not doing that myself. Like I just like if she doesn't do that, I'm going to crumble or I'm going to have no fucking pants to wear. Fuck. Oh, I've got no fucking pants to wear. Nothing's been cleaned, and I've got no clothes. D- the dynamic that is very very different. It's received and given in a very very different way, or she feels like, well, I have to do his washing, and I have to cook for him because he's not going to do it for himself. He can hardly fend for himself. Like I have to do it for him. She's giving that, and he's receiving that in a very different way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 Is it done out of care or nurturing, or is it done out of, oh, well, I have to wear the pants in this family, or else fucking nothing gets done?
So for him, that so in a relationship, that's him being immature. Is another thing in a relationship. If he's not thinking about the vision, he's not thinking about the future. He's just playing it day by day, and he's not helping to plan and drive and go, hey, like this is what I want to achieve. Do you want to achieve the same thing? Are we aligned? Like let's maps out together. He's not driving that. He's just sat in the background, just essentially letting life happen to him. Right? That's immature. A mature masculine, someone that's matured, has drive, like has, we talk about archetypes. It's like the king archetype has a vision. Okay, well, here's my kingdom and here's my vision for the kingdom, and now let's create this together, baby, and let's like how are we going to do it, and these are my ideas, what's your, and there's a drive towards it, right? That's very mature to be to do that. The other way is just fucking letting life happen to you and not being focused on it, not bothered about it. It's boyish. You think like I have my son is 5. He's upstairs, and I'm taking him off today because it was his birthday on the weekend, and I'm going to take him out for the day. And but he's 5 years old. He doesn't have a vision other than, I'd like to play today. you know he's reliant on me to go, this is what we're doing, this is where you're going, we're going to go and do these things. Like we've set a goal this year, because he loves birds, that we're going to see 20 nature reserves in the UK across the year. So I'm like, this is our goal together. He's 5. I'm like, this is our goal. We're going to go and see 20. We're going to see one today. But I'm setting that, you see, like I'm setting that, and I'm setting, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to achieve it. He's a little boy. He doesn't have that vision or have that capability to set that yet. If you carry that immature, like Leo is at 5 years old, into being a man, into your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you can see you're acting like a boy.
Yeah, right. And come here and tell me then, what is the difference between setting the vision and go and with, say, a partner, and then or completely dominating the relationship and like, no, this is how it's going to go.
Well, it goes back to the very start of our conversation at the very start today, the place that it's coming from. If it's like, this is what we're fucking doing, you either come along for the ride or you don't. You're doing it from a place of selfishness. You're doing it from a place of pride, and it's coming from a place of ego. The highest, and that on an energetic log. So each form of state that we're in, shame being the very, very, very lowest state of consciousness that we can be in, is at level 20 on an energetic log. So when we're in a place of shame, it's a really horrible place to be. I could talk from loads of experience of that myself, and coaching from loads of guys that have been in that place. We all go through it. As you go up energetic logs, anger is actually at a much higher place to be. But pride and selfishness, of what we're just talking about here, is a higher place to be. You're moving through life. If you've got some pride about you, even if you're working through your ego, you are actually moving through life. You're getting places. You've got some energy around you, but it's still low. It's classed as a place of, I would call it victim consciousness. Like if you're in that place, you're coming from a place of victim consciousness. It's a lower level state, whereas a super higher level state, more of a spiritual state, and a place of growth and a place of power, is love.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if you're really doing things from a true place of love, that like you felt this, I felt this, when you've been in that moments of love, and it's fucking bliss. It's like it's unexplainable. The feelings, the energy, everything about it. That's the energetic log of love is so high. It's like 500. It's super, super, super high. And when you're in that place, it's radiance, and it ripples again around everyone else that you're with. When you're coming from a true place of love, that ripples into your relationship, and it will grow your relationship. It ripples into the home. That makes sense.
It does. And I know maybe for a lot of guys who are kind of branching off this work, if you're leaving the podcast, love, the feeling. We're getting into feelings and whatnot, some of the things that most men will not talk about just yet, or maybe are on that journey. Love, the feeling, the drive, that fuel that you're talking about, Pete. How can you actually start to get in touch, quote unquote, with that sense? Because when you go back to like living a fulfilling life, feeling fully alive in life, one of those energies that we is love. You have a love or a lust for life again. So if somebody wants to go back to feeling that, feeling fulfilled, feeling that freshness, feeling that love, that energy that you're just speaking about there, but they find themselves that just like maybe the whole pressure of their life currently right now is just taking its toll. How can you start to go back and getting in touch with that and tapping into that fuel source?
Self-care. Oh, it's one of my alarms. The alarm said, I will read it to you. How will you be a 10x CEO today? I have another alarm that goes off later on in this afternoon. It's how will you be a king, partner, and father. And I have another one that's about my fitness. So what we were talking about earlier on, just like bringing constant awareness to the areas in your life that are important. I actually have a couple of alarms just to go, oh yeah, quick reminder.
That's
That it's important. Going back to your question, self-care, number one, it's always you got to come back to yourself. If you find yourself in a place where it's frantic and it's chaos and you feel like that you're doing everything for everyone else but you, yeah, there's a couple of things to do here. Is you have to begin to subtract rather than add. So you look at your life and go, what can I take away? Subtraction over addition. Always look at your life and go, what can go, what needs to go? Is it a relationship? Is it a friendship? Is it a job? Is it a system? Is it a process? Is it someone in the team? What needs to go that's draining my energy and draining my resources? What can I get off my plate? You have to start looking at that and radically taking things away. And once you and normally we can do things quite quickly. That can go, that can go, that can go. He can go, he can go, she can go. And then you go back into, okay, now what we're going to add that's for me, pure self-care. Get back up the gym, start eating well, get a hobby, go out with your mates. Well, it's bringing things back to yourself, because you can't truly give love to others until you've got that within yourself. And it can be difficult for a guy to really move into that because he's never been taught it. Most men are never taught to love themselves. It's always, how can we serve others? No, you have to be able to do both.
love yourself. It sounds cliche, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things. But well, I look from a personal experience. When I look in the mirror, I'm like, "Fuck, man! Like you're the man." And it's not from like a place of like, it's just from a deep understanding of like the shit I've gone through, the where I've gone with my own personal development, or the work I've done on myself, the what that's created in my life. But like, it's definitely one of those icky things that when you get started, it's like, what, how, like, love myself or whatever. So that's a really great way to kind of round up and come to the end of this. Pete, for guys, if you were to give like one takeaway today, that will get them into momentum, and get them into a place where they can start to regain control of their time, their relationships, and move into that maybe king energy where there's a lot of order. They have freedom to do the things that they want. They feel alive in life again. There's a level of fulfillment there. What is the one thing you would suggest? Like, what's the first stepping stone for a guy?
Okay, there's three parts to this,
Okay.
but it's important, but it'd be quick and easy to do. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if the story that you're telling yourself about achieving that strategy is that of misbelief, you're never going to achieve it. And then you can have the best strategy and the fucking best story, but if your energy is shocking, and you're in a place, and like we talked about earlier on the level of consciousness, if your energy log is low, you're in a place of shame and guilt and apathy and anger, and you're in a low place, and your state is bad, you're never going to fucking implement the strategy and really believe in yourself with the story. So everything starts with your state. So without doing anything else, like setting an agenda, setting a target, setting a goal, get your state in a fucking good place.
Mm.
Just, and then once your state is in a great place, then go, okay, well, what do I want to achieve? So like, go on a run for 30 minutes, and I guarantee at the end of the 30-minute run, your endorphins are going to be high. You're going to be, you might be fucked, be like, I feel good. Now I go, okay, well, actually, what do I want to achieve? Get in a place, always get in a better state. I frequently will do state change. Like I'm doing a talk in Manchester on the weekend. There's 300 guys in a room, and so I had to do a presentation for it. It's not death by presentation, but there's a few slides that I've put together visually. I couldn't be fucked to do it. The other day I was like, fucking hell, I do not want to fucking do this. This is ball ache creating slides. So I did 30 burpees. And it completely changed my state. I'm like, 30 burpees, my state's in a better place. Get the focus music on, get a coffee, get it done.
Yeah.
You focus on state change, change your state. And the best way to do that is breathing or moving.
Mm. So focus on the state before we tackle anything. Get that regulated.
Focus on the state, and dude, I guarantee, man, you do. If you just focus on your state every day, how can I just get a better state, better state, better? Inevitably, over time, you start to think differently because your mindset's in the better. You got more endorphins and dopamine running through your body, and you feel good. So it just inevitably you start to think more positively and bigger.
It's interesting. Like it's super basic, and that's what I love about it. Like it is super basic, but it's one of those things that go over our heads straight away. So Pete, man, an absolute pleasure having you on today. And yeah, if the guys want to check you out, where can we find you, or what's the best resources to start having a look at how you operate and what you do? If you want to share.
Heroicman.com or petetaylor.co.uk. And I'm on all social media.
Nice. It was an absolute pleasure, Pete. And yeah, guys, I will share Pete's details in the description link as well if you want, or if you want to reach out, shoot me a message and I can link you up with him as well. And thank you very much for joining and tuning in today, guys. Cheers.